Okay. Any more that you thought of just now?
Why are you so lazy?
Why are you so lazy? Good. Anything else that you thought of?
You're not good at so comparison.
Ah, this is very good. You're not good at so. Oh, talk about money topic. Don't simply spend money. What else? Money don't grow on trees. Yes. What else?
Come home before 7. 7 ah? Come home early.
Come home before 7. He is setting rules, right? Where is it? Okay, it's not that bad. It's not here. It's only here. Okay, good. Come home before 7. Anything else? Or during the break, did you reflect back and then identify some of the meta program? Yes.
Cannot lose, you must win.
Cannot lose, must win. Yes. Yeah. I like to just now when I was out there during the break, I suddenly thought of one very interesting meta program that my dad created for me. Usually, during young, he will usually say, if you don't understand, you must ask. You must ask. You don't understand anything. Okay? Okay. Of course, I must ask. That is the thinking that is being programmed into my head when I was young. And then throughout, as I grow older, he keeps saying the same thing. So to me, it's like, it's me. When I have a question, what do? I must ask. That's what he said. When you have a question, you must ask. And then one day, I have a question. I have a question one day. I went to him. I forgot what I saw already. I was really young that time. I think maybe slightly more than 10 lah. I went to him and say, Dad, what's a drug? You know drug? So he said, drugs. Who tell you about drugs? You shouldn't even talk about drugs. You know how dangerous a drug is? Who tell you about drugs? Who tell you about drugs? Huh? Who tell you about drugs? Why you know about drugs? How you know about drugs? Wow, how do I feel? I feel scared already. And then he scold me, blah, 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 blah. What do I get? I get a whole session of scolding. Do I know anything about drugs? I don't know anything about drugs. And then somehow, funnily, I think on the same day or the few days later, I went to my friend's house. And then just nice, we were talking about drugs. At a young age, we were talking about drugs. And then my friend said, hey, I asked my father what is drugs. And then my friend said, you know what my father do? I said, I don't know, what did your father do? My father brought me into the car. And then he drove to Kuala Lumpur. He went to the drug-prone area. He go and find drug addicts for me. He look at the drug addicts, he high beam, high beam the drug addict. You see, son? That's drug addict, nah. Roughly what drugs did he take so that he can be in this position? Then he start to mention all the drugs and then how to take it. How does it cause the body? What kind of enjoyment do you get when you take the drugs? Then I listen like, oh, this is drugs. Then I start to know, oh, there are these drugs, that drugs, different varieties and categories of drugs. Then I know, oh, that's drug. So then, from that day onwards, do I still ask my father question? No. Because to him, if you got a question, you ask me. Then when I ask, I get a scolding. So I don't ask already. So same thing here. Yeah? It's over time, the meta program. Now that you're aware of it, you can change it. Of course. But it's going to take time. Sometimes it's going to be hurtful to do it because it's not the norm anymore. So when the reason why we have to list down all these things is so that you'll be aware. Well, I can see a few people deep thoughts again. It's very good, very encouraging for me as well. Very deep thoughts. You need to identify more. Some of it here, it might be for that person only, nothing related to you. So to you, when you look at it, it's not me. You start to identify. That's why after this session, you all communicate with your peers and sit down and talk about just this alone. For me, my group, my gang here, we will sit down and then we will stop. Like one day when we were talking, then suddenly I thought about another meta program while we were talking. We thought of another my meta program. So we share. We keep sharing, and then that's how the knowledge base keep growing and growing. So we have to identify more and more. Okay? So when your parents is saying all these things to you, what is it happening internally? You move into this area. Same thing, mentality. You either move into an abundance mentality or you move into a scarcity mentality. For example, like just now the money one. What was the money meta program? What's the money? Don't spend money. Don't simply spend money. Money don't grow on trees. All the money related things, right? For example, when you were young, you wanted this thing. You wanted to have the latest TV, latest PlayStation or things like that. And then your parents will say, you think what? Money grow on trees. So these statements, when they created these statements to you, you are laughing there because it's related to you. That's very good. You just realize. Okay? These statements, once they say to you, it will lead you into this path. The abundance path or the scarcity path. Now, usually what happens is, for example, when I go uni and then I meet a lot of friends, whenever we pass by with this friend, whenever we pass by a very luxurious store, let's say LV or Gucci, the first thing this person will usually do is he'll just point at the shop and say, this shop, money laundering one. This one, gangster one. So that's his meta program created when he was childhood. So when he was young, his parents tell him, rich people, money laundering one. It's an extortion. Why he's so rich? He extort people. Why he's so rich? He's a loan shark. Why this person so rich? He's a hitman. So that's the meta program that you created. Slowly, the things that you say, where is it directing you to? In this case, the scarcity mentality. Same thing, very similar to prisoner, I got no choice. I got no choice, that's why I do this. I got no choice, that's why I do that. Right? So the same person, because of money-related issue, whenever he sees money somehow, he will just reject it. When you ask him, do you like money or not? I love money. But then the things that you're doing are actually rejecting money. Why? Because you got a money-related meta program. Some people very different. Some people is respect. I need respect. So whenever he go and see a client, the client say, then maybe the client want to negotiate a price with him. They say, your price is too expensive. You're quoting 1,000. I want 200. And then this person get angry. You don't respect me. I put in so much effort, you don't respect me. So for this person, respect. So everyone is different. So yourself, you have to identify your own meta program because your family, the parents, the spouse, your siblings, and then your auntie, uncle is basically leading you to both of this direction. So now that you know most of the things that they say is leading you towards scarcity mentality, meaning you got no choice, you need to be aware of it. Step 1, aware. Be aware of it. And then step 2, accept it. You have to accept that. How to accept? Forgive? No, not forgive. Accept this current scenario, this current state of yours. Now, we look back. Let's use back the drugs example, right? My father will say, if you got questions, ask me. So then I have a question, right? What is a drug? Then he get angry and he scold me. So it made me stop asking questions to him. But then I have to accept this fact. Why? Because if I put myself in his situation, at that time, suddenly your kid come to you, you get angry, he asks you a question, you get angry. Why do you get angry? Because you don't know how to react. At that time, you think the best solution is to scold this kid off so that he will be afraid, then he won't touch drugs. So that is the best solution at that time. For example, when you wake up today, this morning, do you open up your closet and say, which is the worst and most disgusting looking dress I can pick today? Let me pick that one. Or will you say, today I want to present myself in a way that I don't look too sexy, I don't look too casual, therefore I pick. Usually it's the best solution. The way you dress usually is the best solution at that particular time. Which means at any particular time, whenever somebody makes a decision, is he choosing the best decision or is he choosing the worst decision? The best. Same thing for you. Maybe in your life, previously you have made a stupid decision. Now if you look back, that is a stupid decision. But at that particular point of time, with the amount of knowledge that you have, the amount of information that you have gathered and processed, you think that that is the best solution. Therefore, you chose that way. Now, same thing for my father. When he scolded me, he thinks at that particular point it was the best solution. Therefore, I have to accept. First step, awareness. Second step, accept. Third step, it's up to you to change it or not. You want to keep continuing your scarcity mentality, you go ahead. But the whole reason why we are here today is to understand yourself better. Then we move towards abundance mentality. Abundance mentality is when we create and grow. For example, when we're communicating, let's say your kid come to you. Your kid come to you and say, Pa, I want to buy a cheesecake. You say, I want to buy the world's most expensive cheesecake, one slice, 100,000. What do? Now, answer this question carefully then. Why? Your answer will lead this person's thinking to scarcity or abundance. For example, if the cheesecake is very expensive, and I've seen cases like this before, that's what parents usually say, there's a few cases. The kid says he wants to buy something, right? And this something is expensive. For example, you want to go for lunch, and then usually a lunch costs 5 ringgit, but this lunch costs 50 ringgit. So most parents will say, this expensive lunch, so usually they won't say expensive lunch, they'll say this lunch tastes and look the same as that lunch, which is 5 ringgit. Why is it so expensive? Because it doesn't taste good. That's why you have to sell it at such a high price so that people can't afford. Then you feel excited to go and buy it. That's what they tell the kids. All the expensive food doesn't taste good. I tell you, I got a bargain. 5 ringgit, get double the portion, tastes 4 times better. Now, over time, if you repeat that, whenever you bring a kid out, once the kid look at the price, oh, my usual budget is 350. Now it's 69. What happened? This one not nice one. And worst case, you bring this kid out. You feel, as an uncle, you feel like you want to bring this kid out to enjoy a proper meal. And then suddenly this kid realizes that this food is expensive. Even though this kid like it, and you can see that this kid like it, this kid will say, it doesn't taste good. Even though he's 10, doesn't taste good. Why? Because his thought process is completely wrong. He's trapped. Who trapped it? In this case, the parents, the word of the parents that trap him. Now, how should you say? Let's say the kid come to you at 15 years old. He say he want to eat a cheesecake. This cheesecake costs 50,000. Usual cheesecake costs 10 ringgit. What do? 50,000 is a very expensive cheesecake. Buy. interesting. Now they have an answer. Later we'll go into that part of reward. No, we shouldn't just buy, because 50,000 is a lot. Okay, so this area we just like to understand. The next step after you have received all this, what are you going to do with it? First step, awareness. Second step, accept. Third step, change it. You can change it. Okay, another example that I like to give you is when if you look closely, maybe you have a friend like that. Usually, this friend would always wake up or come late to whatever gatherings you guys have. No? And then it goes up to the event where in companies, this person would be late as well. Maybe the company starts at 9, this guy will come at 9:30 or sometimes 10. Right? Then the question is why? What is happening here? You always list back to meta program. Then you look back and you ask the person, the family, the father, the mother, how's the father, how's the mother? When you ask how, they will say my father and mother is good. I'm not talking about current. I'm talking about previous when you were young. At that particular time. So what happened to this girl was she always liked to be late, or this person liked to be late. What happens is, even in companies, she'll be late. So when you go deep down and ask her about her parents, about her father and mother, then she will tell you, my mother, every morning when I was young in primary school, every morning she will wake me up and go to school. Wake me up and pull me and go to school. So usually, I'll ignore her. I just want to sleep more. And then my parents will start to shout. My parents will start to pour water. My parents will start to pull me out of the bed. These are the tactics the parents use sometimes to pull you out, to wake you up so that you can go to school. Right? Then in return, what happens? Some people ignore the parents, right? Until the parents get really angry, then this person have to wake up. So can this person wake up at that maybe 7 o'clock or not? This person can wake up, but then the parents keep forcing and forcing. So then once this person graduate and then they find a job, what happens is, because my parents always force me to wake up, in her brain, subconsciously in her brain, she will say that I'm in control. I don't want to wake up. So those friends that always come late, you look back, you ask them, usually they have either a father or mother that use that type of method to wake them up. Now, of course, it's not applicable for everyone, right? Some people happen to react that way. Some people don't. And when they don't, they'll move into other directions. But the same thing for here. What is the actions or the language that the parents is doing, in this case, your parents is doing, to move you from scarcity, to move you towards scarcity mentality? Okay? So if you are aware that you are too scarcity mentality side, you are too that side, you need to be aware of it and then start changing towards abundance. Before you start changing, you have to identify a lot. Right? Like for me and my team, usually we sit down and then say, okay, what is the meta program? Up to the extent where one of the girls said, I got no meta program. I think we finished already. Really? No, it's just that we haven't thought of it. And then as we move along in life, suddenly we realize, hey, I feel upset about something. When you feel upset about something, then hey, that's a good chance to find out where's my meta program. So in today's session, I'll keep going back to meta program because you need to understand why you are today. Here, shut up, don't disturb. Talk, adult talks, kids don't talk. Every one of these, you will shape your life. For example, adult talk, kids don't talk. You can't talk. When you're young, you can't talk. Right? So when you're older, every opportunity you find, you keep talking, non-stop. But then if you ask the person, hey, why do you like to talk so much? What do she say? I don't know. I just like to talk. Maybe I'm grown that way. Actually, no. You are programmed that way. Okay? Same thing. 1, 2, 3. How does it? What will happen to this person then? Stop crying. Stop whining. Everything. 1, 2, 3. So it's like you're preparing, you know. 1. What is this? Fight or flight. In this case, sure fight already because I prepared. 1, 2. Fight. Faster. You are so lazy. Same thing here. Every one of these, when we elaborate, we can elaborate much deeper. And then we need to understand the source. If we don't understand the source, however much communication courses you attend, you won't understand why you are getting angry. So, same thing for spouse. You're married? No. Okay. Oh, no, single yet. Single. Okay. So when you guys are together, when you all argue, are you arguing the same? You realize, are you arguing the same thing over and over again? Well, one of these, of course, maybe it's not here. But usually you're arguing on the same thing over and over again. So you start to peel off like an onion. You peel off the first layer, the second layer, the third layer. Then you start to see the real source of it. Now, whose job is it to you whose job is it to realize this meta program is your job? If you want to keep arguing on the same thing over and over again, eventually you just feel very tired. Okay? So just now we just cover collaboration. So now what's respect? Who can simplify or give a definition for respect? What's respect? Since you are, how do I address you? Huh? Fazli, okay.
He is.
Sorry, follow?
You need to go along with the line with your who is you talking.
Okay, respect.
Yeah. So you need to volume down your voice.
Okay, he mentioned twice about when you talk to somebody, to him, his definition of respect is you need to lower down your voice. He mentioned it twice. I don't know why is it so important, but it's important to you. So when you explain, you say lower your voice down, right? Huh? No, that's his definition. Yes, his definition of respect, no problem about it. There's no wrong, there's no right. But maybe there's a meta program created by you or your parents.
Yeah, I think it's
Soft-spoken, yes. Okay, to him, soft-spoken. And then if we start to ask around, everyone will have different definition of respect. Why? Because everyone have different definition of meta program. Everybody's meta program is different. Respect to me means listen and say yes. Respect to him means lower down your voice. That's all. Maybe respect to you means you must dress confident. There's respect. So which means your appearance. There's respect to you. So everybody have different definition of respect. Right? And that's the biggest problem. So can we roughly agree? Because everybody got a different definition of respect, why don't we just roughly pick one first and just roughly define what's respect. Okay? So putting yourself in their perspective to see what they have gone through. Now this meta program is here again, which means when you communicate, you need to respect. Definition of communication is respect and collaboration. Collaborate is working with the other person. Respect means putting yourself in their perspective, what they see, and then what they have gone through. Basically means meta program. Why is this person late? Why this person always blame? Why this person always do this? Why this person always do that? So you put yourself in that person's perspective and understand why he do this decision. Because, just now all of you agree here, because nobody would decide, I want to pick the ugliest clothes to wear today. Usually the person or yourself will only pick the best solution at that particular time. So we must understand why, what they have gone through. If we don't know, then we can start asking. So that's respect. Now maybe a lot of people don't agree. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't agree. So it's hard to define respect, right? You agree or not? It's hard to define respect. Who agrees on this statement of respect? Everyone agrees. Really? Well, that's good. I've seen some not agree. Is there a reason why some don't want to raise their hand? Okay, so since respect is so hard to define, let's just define what is no respect. Can we define that better, right? So what's no respect? Labeling. You're fat. Oh. Labeling is no respect. Right? That person cannot one lah. Don't need ask him to do anything wasted. Huh? Labeling. You see that short guy? Cannot one. Don't need to find him. Labeling. So when we look at labeling, there is positive labeling and negative labeling. Most of the time we do negative labeling. People will have an abundance mentality, they would usually do positive labeling. Have you heard of a positive label? Have you heard of positive label? Well, give me an example of positive label. Rajin sangat. Huh? You are a good speaker. What else? Yep.
You're very cooperative.
You are very cooperative. Oh, that's good. So you see, you are very cooperative. Where does it lead to? Abundance or scarcity? Mentality. Abundance. You see, when you go and label somebody like that, you are very cooperative. What does this person feel? So when you repeat that few times, it becomes his meta program. Then he'll walk around. You know, I'm a very cooperative person. Let's cooperate. How can we cooperate better? Is it? In a way, you shape this person into a more cooperative person. But then, negative label? What's a negative label? You're so lazy. You're so lazy, you don't go to work. You're so lazy, you wake up at 12. So as you repeat, then this person is, I'm so lazy. I'm so lazy. I'm so lazy. And then when you ask him to do things, no lah, I'm very lazy one. Who started it? The person that says, you are so lazy. Labeling. In this case, congratulations, you have labeled a person into the way that you wanted. So for your kids, same thing. When you see your kids lie down there just not doing anything, what should you do? You're so lazy. And then you live up to what the mother say. I'm so lazy. And then you repeat the process. Right? So let's give another example of positive labeling. Anybody? Yeah, example of positive labeling.
My shirt. My shoe.
Okay. Yeah, that one is a better one. You're punctual. Okay.
Humble person.
Humble person, yes, good. Positive labeling.
You look very smart today. Is it a positive?
Yes.
Actually, for me, it's just simple words.
Yes.
Good in everything. That's all.
Yes.
Fabulous. Awesome.
Yes. Now she's hitting all the correct part. Yes. Yes. Simple things. Simple things. Now, do you label people or not? You label people. I myself label people. I'm a professional labeler. Now, why is it that I label people? Same thing. It's related to. Can we change or not? Actually, I still label people today. Sometimes I don't even realize it. Just talk, 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 talk. He's like that one. Oh, and then my team will say, "Excuse me, you just labeled the person." Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Yes.
Last question.
Hmm.
Is it okay to label a person which is actually he is not that? I mean, we say you are good, but actually he's not that good. So it's a fake labeling. Is it okay? Because it came to my thought. Actually, it's about my son.
Yeah.
So my son, you see a video of someone karate the plywood. So I always said, you are strong, son. You are very strong. So he said, yeah, I can do this. So I give him yang
Kayu.
yang dalam no, no, no. Yang putih tu, polystyrene. Okay, this is very hard. You try to karate, then watch out. No, very strong. And then he keep repeating, I'm very strong. I'm strong. And you know what? One day we go and karate his sister. Seriously. Then I start to scold and why are you doing this? I'm strong. That's how strong. That's what strong people do. Karate everywhere. So how to labeling, but solving the problem, the consequences.
When we talk about labeling, there is a so-called proper way to label. When we talk about labeling, we want to label the truth, which means saying that if you are not that strong, or if you are not that high performance, we don't label high performance. For example, when you label a person and then that labeling or that sentence itself exceeds the person's ability, first thing, the person can feel it, right? What the person will learn is actually to hide it. So, for example, you feel sad, and then your kid see you feel sad. Clearly, your kid can sense that you feel sad, and she can see your tears is coming out or something. So she know you feel sad. So what do? When you look at the kid, you look at the kid and say, "I'm okay. Let's go shopping." What happened? Yeah. So to this kid, when he grow up, not with the thinking brain, the subconsciously, without thinking, this person will automatically say, when I'm sad, I'm so sad now, okay, let's go shopping. Then you ask him, why you want to go shopping? I don't know, I just feel like going shopping. But it's actually a meta program created many, many years back. So if you are labeling a person, and then if that person is not up to that ability, don't label. So you label the fact, right? Yeah. And then there are words that you can't use, especially smart. Smart. Smart is a very bad word to label a person, right? And then there are many, many research done on the word smart. For example, kids, when you label them smart, I give you the example. Two groups of kids on the left and on the right, young kids. Both of this group, we give them puzzles to do, right? Group A, same set of puzzle as a group B. After finishing, we start to label them. This group, you are very smart. You can finish it on time. You are so smart. You are talented. I've never seen somebody so smart as you before that can complete this puzzle. Okay? Now the other group, what do you say? I can see that you are determined. I can see that your willpower is very strong to finish this puzzle. Now, after the comments, then the researcher went into the first group and said, first group, would you like to do the same puzzle, pick a harder puzzle, or pick the easier puzzle? Same question for both groups. So the first group that labeled them smart, this group said, I want to do the same puzzle. Okay, there you go, the same puzzle. Then the other group, the second group, Second group say, ask the same question to the second group, and the second group say, why do we want to do the same puzzle? I want to challenge myself to do a harder puzzle. You see what's the difference here? When you praise, in this case, you praise the determination, you praise the willpower, the effort, this person will put more into this type of things that you have just mentioned. Now, when you praise him smart, to him, oh lama, this person thinks I'm smart. If I fail on the hard one, I'm not going to look smart anymore. I pick an easy one. That is also the reason why, when you look back in your Robert Kiyosaki, there's a book written by Robert Kiyosaki. I think the title is called "Why A Students Work for B Student." Why A student work for C student and B student work for the government. A student usually is the type that have enjoyed this type of so-called comments. You are smart, you are talented. I've never ever seen anybody so smart as you. So to them, it's I'm so smart, I'm so smart. Their result is very good in school, and then when they get hired, they go into the job, the work labor force. Everything that they do is just trying to prove themselves. They want to keep proving themselves. But then the other group of people, yes, I can fail, but I'm determined. I have a strong willpower. I have effort. So you can see two different groups. Instantly, you can switch a person's mindset with words. So labeling. What is the Nick? What is the guy's name again? Nick Vujicic. Nick Vujicic. If you remember Nick Vujicic, the person, the public speaker, motivational speaker that doesn't have legs and arms on, you just stand on the table. Right? Same thing. What happens to him? Labeling. You know what happened when he was young? When he was in, I can't remember the exact details. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was in university. He was passing by, every day he was passing by this gardener that is sweeping the floor. Right? And then this gardener would say, hey, Nick Vujicic in this case, Nick, you're going to be a speaker. So the first time this Nick will say, no, impossible, I got no hand, no legs. Speaker. Second day, the gardener said the same thing. You're going to be a speaker. No, impossible. Every day the gardener say the same thing. In this case, it's positive labeling. Every day the person